Turning magical, when you see it say, everything you want to dream. We are living every day, she told us.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups. A simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. 2166. That's 2166, or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Have you ever searched through a shelf full of greeting cards and still couldn't find the one that echoed how you felt? Well, search no more and call. We offer birthday cards. Our cards are one-of-a-kind, keepsake items that your recipient will want to place on their mantle with all treasured items. We also offer holiday cards. With Designs by Deej, no holiday will go unnoticed. Our unique holidays. We also have we are your one-stop shop for unique and three-dimensional handmade greeting cards for all occasions. We also take custom orders, crafted with care and made with love. So call Designs by Deej today, 601-451-9536, or visit our website, designsbydeej.com.
Well, we're moving on now to the east side, to a deluxe apartment.
Out the New Sisters Braid 2 Hair Braiding and Natural Hair Care Salon, 18070 Mount Elliott Street. Our new salon is spacious with adequate parking, Wi-Fi, and all brand new state-of-the-art salon equipment. Come meet your local hair and check out our many hair services, such as hair warm rolls, tree braids, Havana twists, children's braids, lock extensions, kinky twists, goddess locks, updos, full weaves, and more. Please feel free to visit us on the web at www.sisters.com or call 313-826-04. Here at Sisters Braid 2, we offer exceptional care for exceptional hair. We look forward to seeing you. Sisters Braid 2 is a proud recipient of the Unity and Rebuilding.
To invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityand.com. We often hear how we need to work together and rebuild the city, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the. And for more information, 313-868 is a local number. Again, 313-868-00. The Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
Pick up your copy of the Son of Man Speaks magazine today. With the Son of Man Speaks magazine, you'll motive tips, wholesome recipes, financial advice, and most importantly, a true understanding of the Word of God. Son of Man Speaks from these select locations. Grade 2, 18070 Mount Elliott, the Shell Gas Station, 13110 West 7 Mile Road, to get us 786-9780. That's 786-9780. The Son of Man Speaks magazine, dedicated to becoming free indeed. Medicare annual enrollment December 7th. Are you or someone you know can help you find the Medicare plan that's right for you. New to Medicare? We can help you choose the right plan for your life and budget. Call for an appointment. You can make the decisions that are in your best. See us Salon, licensed insurance representative at 1-248-943-7730. That's 1-248-943-7730. PR Detroit, HD2. You're watching WHPS, Detroit. FM 88 WHPR, Highland Park, WV 7.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Tired of reading the whole
Conference recording.
really? And if you're reasonably sure, if you ever
Conference recording
you
started.
know, with someone that has a different view than your own, then let's talk with one another on a scriptural discussion with us. Wednesday
The
at 9
recording has
p.m.,
started.
Friday at 9 p.m., and Sunday at 12 noon on WHPR TV Detroit Live, HPR, and Comcast Cable. Why don't you? The Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and their true meaning. You can call it live 1-868-433. 3-868-0342 or 313-868-0351. That's 313-868-0342, 3-868-0351. And now, let's go live with a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet all of you once again, thank you, baby, who are hungry and thirsty for Allah's righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's salam alaikum. It is first, I want to give those who may have disagreement with something that they have heard me teach. I want to give them a chance to question me about it and get clarity, or if they think they can prove me wrong about something, I will hear that too. We are not here to just talk at you. We are here to talk to you. If you are speaking to someone and you pause in your speaking, generally the pause is so that you can hear their response to what you just spake. This is called talking to you. Many times you will speak and someone else will say something. You say, I wasn't talking to you. And you understand? Which means I don't want to hear what you got to say because I wasn't even speaking to you. Do you understand? But people get up in front of us and talk at us. but not to us. And you can tell because when we go to say something back, they don't want to hear it. Huh? So that's called bigotry. When you are actually directing words at people, but you don't expect them to respond. You just want them to, I guess we, in a way, got that honest because we go down one-way streets here, and they make one-way streets, and you can only go one way on there. so these people traveling a one-way path. But I don't hold one-way conversations. I hold two-way conversations. If people disagree with me, I want to hear it. A lot of times, some of you hear me, and you really don't hear me because you'll come back and as though I'm going to change my mind about something that I told you. And it's very seldom you will hear me change my mind when I give you some instructions about how to do something. I want you to see this. I know that Allah protects us. But most people don't know how Allah protects you. They think that it's something magic. There's no magic. Forewarned is forearmed. When someone, for instance, when in war, they have what they call minefields. M-I-N-E fields. And those minefields are strategically placed to blow people up that walk that way. But the one who plants the minefield has a map of it. Do you understand? So that they can walk back through there and not get blown up. The map arms them with protection from being blown up by the minefield. They ain't walking through there by no magic and just floating through there. No, they walking through there with knowledge, with understanding of where to step and where not to step. Do you understand? You got all these people walking around here tempting God, listening to their devil. Let me show you here. Let me see here. This is I like to show you. It's sad when you try to. It's like doctors tell you. I remember when I was much younger. My doctor, Dr. MacArthur. We had a medical. I guess they're medical encyclopedias, and I was reading through them, and I was looking at a lot of the things, the symptoms for diseases that you might have. And I went to him one day and I started telling him, well, I read up on it, and I think this is what's my problem. And he looked at me, he said, look, Brother Muhammad, I won't preach and don't you practice medicine. So, but it's a funny thing how a lot of the symptoms that go with diseases, the symptoms go with a whole lot of things. You understand? So, when you're not a student of medicine, it is unintelligent for you to call yourself diagnosing yourself from symptoms that you may have. That's not intelligent. If it was that easy, you wouldn't nobody had to go to med school. They just get by the book, go there, diagnose yourself, and treat yourself. Well, that's the way people do with the scriptures. They think they understand what they are reading, even though Jesus warned them. He said, "I have," and he wasn't speaking his own words. He told you. He said, "The words that I'm speaking are not mine, but his that sent me." So who was the I that said, "I have yet many things to say unto you, but you cannot bear them now"? It wasn't even Jesus talking. It was Allah speaking through Jesus. When he gave, the Spirit is the God. God is the Spirit. Huh? Well, if you say the Spirit, you're saying the God. The name Allah means the God. But, I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us the student enrollment. He could have just as easily said the Taliban enrollment, since Taliban means student. Huh? Okay. But anyway, so that's one name that they had right. They named themselves right. Taliban, students. Why? Because a rightly guided one is going to come. That's what Prophet Muhammad told them. Then when the rightly guided one comes, you must become his student. Huh? All right. So, but now let's go here to Luke, the 4th chapter. I want you to see what people have done. The devil. I remember I was looking at what's the name? The Italian Job. And he had a cameo role in this one. The older man, I forgot his name. But he played in the Body Snatchers. Huh? I didn't hear you. I'm trying to get somebody to help me with his name. He's you remember the one that played Jack Bauer? Jack Bauer was his son, what's that man's name? Anyway, he was asked once in the movie, the Italian Job, he said, "What, you don't trust me?" He said, "No, it's not you. He said, "You don't trust people?" He said, "No, it's not people that I don't trust. It's the devil in them that I don't trust."
That was Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland. And so notice the way they put that in the movie. It's the devil in them that I don't trust. The Holy Quran says when they are alone with their devils, Where are their devils? When they are alone, as they say, they are alone. Well, if you alone, then ain't nobody else with you. Well, where's their devils at? It's inside of them. It says, when they are alone with their devils. They say we was only mocking. We really with you. We really was only pretending. Mocking there means pretending. Huh? And so now listen to this here. This is a this is the 9th verse of the 4th chapter of Luke. It says, and he, the devil, brought him, Jesus, to Jerusalem and set him on a pinnacle of the temple and said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down from hence. For it is written, he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee. And in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Now, Jesus could have said, okay, I'll jump off of here and show you that God will take care of me. Well, in the first place, if he had did that, he was trusting the devil's understanding of the scripture. That's the first mistake he made. Huh? Okay. He says, and Jesus answering him said unto him, he said, unto him, it is said, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Anything that tempts you tests you. So what it's actually saying is you don't test God. If you know that somebody and you trying to convert them or whatever, and then they tell you, well, I tell you what, take this gun here and stick it to your head, and if God is with you and stop that bullet from coming out of there, you pull the trigger, and if God is with you and he stopped that bullet, I'm gonna join with you. And you stupid enough to go and pull the trigger on a gun when you know what your knowledge of guns should teach you, that you don't pull the trigger on a loaded gun while you pulling it next to your head, pointing it at your head. The truth that you know should stop you from doing that. Huh? I didn't hear you. See, the truth is your protection. You see, there are miracles. Yes, Allah works miracles. I stepped off the curb in front of a Mack truck, should have been hit, should have been dead. Now that was a miracle. You know, Allah can work miracles all right. But I didn't do it to test God. I did it because I was going through some changes, and I didn't want to be someone who was phony, and I did not want to be a means of harm to my people. And all kind of stuff was running through my mind and say, he that seek to save his life shall lose it. Whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it. And I was Now this all was going through my mind in milliseconds. You think a lot faster than you talk. And so I was saying, well, if I step off the curb and try to take my life, then that means I'm gonna lose my life. And if I don't do it, then I'm saving my life. And I said, well, forget it. And I stepped and the truck just stopped. Didn't hear no screech tires or nothing. Just stopped. And then everything that I was seeing in that vision went back to normal. Everything went back to normal. All the people walking around couldn't blink their eyes, all that stuff. And then I understood a little that I had obviously passed some tests, and so I went on. And you remember Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, when he was standing up there at that chasm, and it said a leap from the lion's head. And he said, can't nobody jump across, can't leap across there. And he said, it's a leap of faith. And so he put his hand over his heart and he stepped out. And it was a bridge there that he couldn't see. Do you understand? And so it was, I get enjoyment out of watching good versus evil things. I've always found that fascinating. But anyway, I know why now. But Allah put that there for me. As the messenger said, everything that attracts your attention, he says, it's not for sport and play, it's for you to learn something. And so I've been a student, a willing student. So it's just like you got these people around here that refusing to get vaccinated, talking about God gonna take care of them, while they turning down the protection that Allah put there for them, because they believe in magic. And now I want to show you something. Now, because they're allowing themselves to be petri dishes, look what's happening to them now. Let me show you. See if I can open it with this program here. Yeah.
In a world fatigued by waves of COVID-19, now renewed fear. In South Africa, scientists identify a troubling new variant of the virus that is dominating infections here.
A variant of serious concern, which is now driving this spike in numbers.
More than 30 mutations, say scientists, in the spike protein alone. It's a worrying sign. Scientists are working in labs like this one in South Africa, scrambling to confirm if the variant evades immunity from previous infections, or crucially, if it weakens vaccine efficacy. Definitive answers could take weeks.
We think it may be a more transmissible virus and it may have some immune escape. Now, we don't know that for sure, but that's what it looks like.
The European Commission has today proposed to member states to activate the emergency brake on travel from countries in southern Africa.
But even without clear answers, the world is shutting its doors. Countries all across the globe rapidly banning travelers from parts of Africa. They say to curb the spread of the variant. Now thousands are likely stranded. In Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam, hundreds of passengers from South Africa forced to sit on the tarmac for hours after landing, then crowding in a COVID testing site after the Netherlands bans travel from South Africa. the International Air Transport Association, saying restrictions are not a long-term solution. They've already lost billions to the pandemic. And anger in South Africa, where officials call the bans draconian, knee-jerk measures.
What I found so disgusting and really distressing actually from here was not just the travel ban being implemented by the UK and Europe, but that was the only reaction or the strongest reaction. And there was no word of the support that they're going to offer to African countries to help us control the pandemic.
Countries in Africa.
The governments all over the earth are fast becoming impotent. What is the purpose of having a government if the people that they govern will not obey them? That's like going into a house and you have people in parental roles, but when the parents tell the children what to do, they ignore them. Huh? The world is falling into anarchy. And this is why you have a pandemic going unchecked and steadily getting worse and worse and worse. And like I told you, it reminds me of that, the Twilight Zone, the old man in the cave. A computer and a scientist that was getting information from a computer was keeping a town and its people safe after a nuclear attack, after fallout. And food was scarce, even though there was markets full of food, but it was all contaminated. It was full of radiation poison. And the older man, he was telling them that they couldn't eat out of there. They couldn't drink anything out of the markets and things. And they was getting frustrated. And then here comes some some cowboys in military uniform, declared martial law, and told the people that why you walking around here hungry and all this food all around you here? And the scientist told them that food is unfit to eat. You can't eat that. Says who? Says the old man in the cave. Where's this old man in the cave? And which he should have actually. I mean, it was a story that he should have told them the truth in the first place. That the computer that was designed to understand this type of situation, but he just called the computer the old man in the cave. And he was the only one who understood how to operate the computer and the data that came out of it. And so anyway, the military people took over, bust him in the mouth, and the scientists, they jumped on the scientists. And so they all had them a party, and everybody was drinking, and the next thing you know, I showed you that little clip. Next thing you know, everybody was passed out, dead. Everybody who had took part in that was dead. And the scientist was the only one left. And then of course, the Rod Serling came on and with the epilogue, Well, no. Well, at the end of it, I don't know if it's the epilogue that they call it or whatever. But anyway, he came on and talked about what happens to people when they refuse to listen to facts and to reason, like these people are doing now. It's just like I've told many of you, don't put yourself in harm's way to send me no money. If you want to send something to me, you mail it. Just put it in the mail. You ain't got to go down there and stand in no Walmart or some places where some of these people don't have sense enough to take this pandemic seriously. They act like it's over. And it's not over. There's new strains of this virus steady coming out. I'm not going to tell you to go, if you got something to send me, I can wait on it. I ain't in no hurry. A lot of times if you notice when you send me something, it may be weeks before I go pick it up. So I just, I refuse to just keep on running back and forth to Walmart or any places that I don't just need to go to. I don't. And if I go, I make sure I put on masks and I conduct my business there, and I go home. And I advise all of you to do the same. Do your shopping and go home. Listen to the people. Look, it's in the scientific community's best interest to tell you the truth about this virus, because a virus can wipe out, they have wiped out civilizations. They talk about some dinosaurs and some extinction event. That what you looking at with this pandemic here, with these coronaviruses and stuff, you looking at an extinction event. The book says except those days should be shortened, there would no flesh be saved, animals or people. But you got people now telling on themselves and don't know why. It's all kind of stuff going on now. And look what just happened in Georgia. I'm gonna let you see that, but you better take this stuff seriously. Allah told me in Psalm, I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when Allah showed him the destruction of this world, it made him shudder with fear. And we didn't think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was scared of anything. But he acknowledged that it frightened him. Just like with me, if you heard a little tremble in my voice when I opened up. This stuff, it scares me. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. It's just like when my daddy used to be putting something on one of my brothers. Even if it wasn't me, he was in on, I was sitting there scared. Because I didn't know if he was going to get me next. so likewise, I see Allah putting it on people. Yes, I'm scared. And if you knew what I knew, you'd be scared. Look what it says here. In the 91st chapter of Psalms, it says, 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. Yeah. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. So, this stuff is frightening. You run around here talking about, I remember I was listening to the whole thing, Herman Cain said, I'm talking about our God is more powerful than this virus. You must have forgot that God is the God of the living. That virus is a living thing. God is the one that let it out. You running around here, you don't know what you was doing when you was running around here calling people Muslim terrorists or Islamic terrorists. You ain't got no right to be labeling me as no terrorist. You don't associate terrorism with Islam. When the book says, slay the hypocrites where you find them, it didn't mean go and physically kill people. A hypocrite is not flesh. A hypocrite is the mind that's in the flesh. And we take truth and hurl it against the hypocrite, against falsehood. When you find a hypocrite, call him out. Like them hypocrites that they done found out just a couple of them. There's more than a couple on the police force in Missouri. Ku Klux Klan on the police force. Hypocrites. He's supposed to be protecting and serving, and he out there doing just the opposite. Well, if people will do it in as Jesus said, beware of false prophets that come to you in sheep's clothing. Beware of hypocrite preachers who come to you acting like they some representative of God when all they are inwardly, they ain't nothing but ravenous wolves. Why you think don't none of them say nothing to me when I talk about their religion? You get mad all you want. I don't care. Call on whatever God you serve and tell him to do something about it. Now tell me to call on what God I serve and do something about you. Unmute your phone and tell me that. He already told me what to do about you. He said, cast it behind in the hell.
Israel, Hong Kong, and Belgium have so far confirmed cases of the variant. Now, no sign that there is this variant in the US confirmed at the moment. Just moments ago, Jim, this news coming in that the European Center for Disease Prevention and Control saying that there is a high to very high risk that this variant will spread through Europe. And it's the expectation that if it is more transmissible, it will spread globally, but it's too early to say at this point. It must be stressed that the WHO and the Africa CDC have said that these travel bans are not the most effective way of stopping variants of concern. And I must say that several scientists have expressed to me today in South Africa that they believe they're coming out very quickly with this news and being
The history of pandemics teaches you that the only way to stop them is through vaccinations. That's what history teaches. But you know what they say about a fool. A fool is a person that do the same thing looking for a different result. Huh? You refuse to take the lesson of history. Before there was vaccines, polio was running rampant. It was only after vaccines did polio, measles, chickenpox, and all of that get under control. And now these nuts walking around here deciding to practice not being vaccinated and expecting a pandemic to go away because they're going to develop natural immunity. So it ain't enough people dead yet, huh? You okay. All right. Well, I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed devil.
And has led them to be punished, and this country to be punished with these bans. That's the view from here, at least. Jim?
All right, Deb McKenzie, I suspect you are correct. Thank you very much for that report. Joining me live to discuss, Dr. Peter Hotez, co-director of the Center for Vaccine Development at Texas Children's Hospital and dean of the School of Tropical Medicine at Baylor College of Medicine. Dr. Hotez, I had a feeling we were going to be having this kind of discussion sooner rather than later, that some new variant was going to emerge that was just going to cause all kinds of trouble around the world. We just got a new alert from the European version of the CDC, as David McKenzie was just talking about a few moments ago, saying that there is a very high risk, high to very high risk that this new COVID variant will spread throughout Europe. I suspect it's not going to be very long before our CDC says the same thing.
Well, a few thoughts, Jim. One, this is the consequence of failing to vaccinate the African continent. Only 6% of the continent is vaccinated. We knew additional variants were going to emerge in that setting because that's how variants of concern arise. They emerge among unvaccinated populations. And so the fact that there was not a good faith effort to go beyond mRNA and adenovirus vectored vaccines to vaccinate with recombinant protein vaccines, we could have had the African continent vaccinated by now had we done that. So part of this is a self-inflicted wound. But look, you know, I think it's important to convey the message that there's concern, but the sky is not falling. And here's why, Jim. First, this variant does not appear to be causing worse disease than anything we've seen before. This is not the Andromeda strain. So it's not like the mortality goes up even further with this variant. Second point is, yes, there are a lot of mutations in the spike protein, including the receptor binding domain that binds to the receptor. But in the past, those kinds of vaccine escape variants have not really translated into major global pathogens. So we've seen this before, to some not as extreme, but with the out of South Africa before, remember the B1351 and the Lambda variant out of South Africa, those never really took off. So there's nothing intrinsic about having a lot of mutations in the spike protein that would account for global spread. The two worst ones, the Alpha variant that arose out of an unvaccinated population in the UK and the Delta variant that arose out of an unvaccinated in India, was because of an amino acid substitution in the 681 position that caused it to be much more highly transmissible. So the most important question for this weekend and in the next few days next week is this variant more transmissible than Delta? Does it have the ability to outcompete Delta? And we really don't know that yet. It's possible, but we still have to do a lot more studies because the Delta variant has been the worst so far. And so I think all of those things have to be kept in mind.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because, you know, that is a key question here. Moderna, we should point out to our viewers, released a statement just a short time ago. Of course, a lot of people have gotten the Moderna vaccines here in the U.S., Moderna releasing a statement saying the mutations on this new variant represent a, quote, significant potential risk to both natural and vaccine-induced immunity. How concerned are you about that?
So this weekend, our scientists working on our recombinant protein at Texas Children's Hospital in Baylor are doing just that. We're looking at the antibody responses to our vaccine and seeing if it can cross-neutralize the Omicron variant. And I'm sure Moderna and Pfizer and the other pharma companies are doing the exact same thing. And so we'll get some idea of its ability to cross-neutralize the variant in the laboratory. It's not quite the same as a vaccine effectiveness study, but it gives us some indication. And I think that's going to be very important as well. But it's still critical to remember that the biggest crisis right now facing the United States is still that we've only vaccinated half the population.
Right.
We've got 41% that are totally unvaccinated. We have a significant percentage that have only gotten 2 doses of the vaccine with waning immunity. And we have those who are infected and recovered who have incomplete immunity because they've not gotten vaccinated.
That's right.
So the emphasis the game plan doesn't change. We need to vaccinate the American people fully. And the travel restrictions, we've not seen a big impact on travel restrictions so far in terms of helping the situation. If you remember at the beginning of this pandemic, we talked about travel restrictions from China when the whole time this virus entered into New York City from Southern Europe. So I think this variant's pretty widespread already.
It's already moving around the world. And I just spoke very briefly via text with Dr. Anthony Fauci a short while ago. And I asked, whether or not this means people should not get their boosters right now. No, he says, absolutely, you should get your boosters right now. All the more reason to do so. Dr. Peter Hotez, thank you so much.
Yes, as we look at these things, ignoring it ain't gonna make it go away. I want to I want you to remember that the continents are referred to as 7 golden candlesticks. In the reason they are called candlesticks, I used to think that the candlestick was that candle that's made like a stick. And the candlestick ain't that. The candlestick is the thing that this candle sits on. Do you understand? And the reason that if you go over here to the book of Revelation, in the book of Revelation, the first chapter, it says, as the revelator knew he would be with me in this day and time. Remember, Paul said, when I'm absent from the body, I will be present with the Lord. And the Sabbath day is whose day? The Lord's day. Is that right? So listen at the way the revelators put it like this. In the 10th verse, I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. Huh? And heard behind a great voice, Allahu Akbar, God is great. Then the voice of God is great. Is that right? A great voice. As of a trumpet, saying, I am Alpha and Omega. The first man, Adam, the first mind added unto us, and the last mind added unto us. As it says, you notice, let me show you now. We don't come here with a mind. the mind that we have was added unto us after we got here. Is that right? Gives a whole new meaning to the word Adam, huh? So, anyway, I tell you, I can do the messenger. The messenger told the whole world. He said, the black man, he can call light out of darkness. Where there was no light, he can create some light. Do you understand? So, knowing the language like I do, when you put more with something, what are you doing? You're adding, huh? You see? And you notice, when you look at the term am, you notice you say, I think you've seen this in, I've seen this in some of the Star Trek movies, like when Professor Moriarty, a program, became self-aware. And he said, I think, therefore what?
I am.
I am. Am is a statement of being or coming into being. And so, likewise, when you add am, you are adding a state of being to a person. You understand? Adam. So, now let's go a little further. And it says, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, what you foresee, write it in a book and send it unto the 7 churches. The 7 churches is the 7 continents. You notice you got many names. You have a first name, and some people call you by your first name. It's like one of my childhood friends, that's more like family than friends, called me today, and was actually returning my call because I heard she had been sick, and she's about 4 years older than me, and so I called to see how she was doing, because I had been meaning to get around to it, but I had never gotten around to it, and it then popped into my mind to do so. So I called her and got voicemail. And so, I got a call and didn't recognize the number. And someone asked to speak to Marvin, and called me by my slave name. And I said, who is this? I said, who is this? And she commenced to telling me she got my number from some place and whatnot. And she said, this is Dorothy. And then I caught her voice, and then we had a good laugh about that. And so she said, what shall I call you? I said, call me Marvin. As you always have, people that, I'm not hung up on the title, Son of Man. I mean, when people that's been knowing me all my life, she knew me when I was a baby. Almost. So I had no problem with her calling me Marvin. That's all she's ever known me as, Marvin. It's like many people that have known me all my life. I don't get offended because they call me Marvin. Coming from them, it's a term of endearment. But anyway, as I, what bothers me is when people that I don't know, I've had people try to introduce people to me, and they'll tell me, this is John or whatnot. I said, what's their last name? I don't know them well enough to be on no first name basis with them. I'll put a handle on that, Mr. Johnson or Miss Johnson, Mr. Jones or Miss Jones or whatever. I'm not going to go there. how you doing, Mary? So and so. That's disrespectful. But anyway, so the 7 churches are the 7 continents also. You see, just like you know, whether you know, like my name, Marvin Ahmed Muhammad. That's my given name here. Okay, well, I'm Marvin, I'm Ahmed, and I'm also Muhammad. You know, it just depends on what name is used, but it's still me. So it's just like the earth, Asia. You say earth, some people just say Asia. Asia is earth. You see, and you hear another term that they use for earth, terra. Huh? Yeah, terra. But they're still talking about earth. Heaven, paradise. Huh? Yeah, same thing. Okay. Then it says, send it, write it in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia. When you understand that Asia is the earth, it makes it much easier for you to understand what the 7 churches are. 7 continents. Then it says, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. Well, if you're going to send the book, or send the light to the 7 churches, to the 7 continents, you remember we talked about the birthday cake? Huh? Okay. The reason it's called the birthday cake is because since the day that the devil was made, since his birth, he have been fighting against prophets and blowing out the truth. When they would, when an enlightened prophet would come among them, they would do their best to put out the light with their mouth. You understand? Okay. And as long as he could put out the light with his mouth, as they say, you blow out the candle, then your wish that your will can be done. Your will can come true. Huh? But anyway, see, you didn't know what all of this was about. But if I wasn't the Lord, if I wasn't the Son of Man, I couldn't stand up there and explain that to you. He ain't taught me what that means. So let's go a little further. It says, and I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. Now, the reason why the continents are called candlesticks is because, like with a candle, when you put it on a stick and light it, then the candle is gradually burning down. The life on the continents are like candles. The plant life is gradually dying. The animal life, gradually dying. So, candlesticks. If you took the water out of the ocean, just take all the waters out of the ocean, and you see that the valleys, the oceans are valleys between mountains. You see? And you would see 7, the earth would look like similar to that coronavirus, the spikes around it. You understand? Well, anyway, so it says, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. You see? One who is like God. The meaning of the name Michael is who is like God. In the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man. You see? And so it is, the book says, let us make man in our image after what? After our likeness. Well, if the word is going to be made flesh, then the flesh, the one who is told to eat up the word, becomes like the word, the express image of the word. Huh? You notice when you say express male, you mean faster, right? Well, you notice when you try to read the Bible, your reading is slow compared to me standing up here reciting it and explaining it to you. This is the express image. do you understand? So, praises due to Allah. So, it takes time to explain things. It don't take a whole lot of time to tangle a ball or string up. But if you want to, if you ever had a long extension cord and you was putting it together like a rope, huh? Then when you go to pull it back apart, sometimes it don't come apart as easy as it went rolling it together. Huh? Water hose the same way, huh? Yeah. They overlap each other and then they get tangled. You have to go there and straighten it out. So likewise, that's what the messenger was telling us. He said, it takes longer to untangle the entanglement than it did to tangle it up. Well, that's true. It's much history teaches you that tearing down is a lot faster than building up. Yeah? There you go. So I'm going to get here now to this that I wanted you to see, because you saw something in Georgia that if it was not the Sabbath day, you wouldn't be seeing this stuff. I'll show you. But first, let's read it. It says, but this is the 16th verse of the 8th chapter of Luke. It says, no man, when he hath lighted a candle, covereth it with a vessel, or putteth it under a bed, but setteth it on a candlestick, that they which enter in may see the light. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come on the internet. Huh? Shall come abroad. We didn't know how news of what's happening in one country halfway around the world was going to be spread abroad over the rest of the country. They didn't have no radio and television back then. Huh? We know now how it comes abroad on. It says, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Take heed, therefore, how you hear. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. For whosoever hath understanding, to him shall be given more. And whosoever hath not understanding, from him shall be taken even that which he seemeth to have. You notice what the internet is now doing with people. People that have understanding of the truth, you can go on the internet and get more understanding. But those who don't have understanding and easily persuaded of a lie, Oh man, the little understanding they did have, that's soon gone. Huh? I remember the messenger said, if you don't know the truth by now, I say to you, goodbye. Now he said that while he was here. He said, I'm the last man to try to pull you out of the power of the white man, out of the power of the devil. The power of the devil is to deceive and to trick you and to make evil fast seeming to you. That's the power he had. Look at it. There was a time if I called white people devils, oh man, them phones would be jumping off the hook. Talking about you teaching hate and all that. He don't come in here and say that now. Because I make him stay on that phone and I make him admit that that's who he is. Now, the first step in not following the devil is to be aware of who the devil is. When you understand that devil means deviser of illusion. Man, look, I look at TV and you see Man of Steel? Did you see it?
Yes, sir.
Now, you can't tell me men can't fly. Now, don't tell me Superman be getting it, brother. Huh? Then you got Wonder Woman. She take a leap and go like that, and there she go. Literally, you can't believe what you looking at. Huh? It is an illusion. The deviser of illusion. He took his skill, he took what God gave him, and he made his living off of it. Huh? What is an actor? He is a liar. He's a pretender. Huh? Yes. So how you going to say that I'm lying on you when your works say I'm telling the truth? You know a man by his works. So, I mean, I ain't condemning him for being the devil. The only thing he's going to be condemned for is for not wanting to change. I mean, somebody had to do that job, and he was made to do that job. I mean, that's what he was made for, to do what he did. So you can't get mad at him. The messenger said, I don't get angry with them for what they teach and the way how they rule and what they teach. He said, how in the world can they teach reality and then take us away from reality? If he get to rule, he got to take us away from the reality of God. Because we got the reality. Every time you look at the black man, you looking at God. Why? Because God is the original man. If you want to know who God is, who is the first man? That's God. Didn't it ever occur to you that if God was not man, then why, when God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, how come the angels didn't say, man, what you talking about? What is that? I didn't hear you. Huh? See how the truth is always just right there, omnipresent, but not always visible? Huh? Not always apparent? See? So now, it says, for nothing, this is the 17th verse, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Huh? Now, let me show you.
then the sister was trying to find out that Ahmad actually, he ran, he fought, he was killed, and then he was lied on.
She says the authorities lied to her. They told her something that they knew to be false. That's what makes it a lie because of the evidence in the video. The case actually had to go through not one prosecutor, not two, but 3 different prosecutor DAs who never made an arrest. The first DA, Jackie Johnson, recused, citing that one of the suspects was a former investigator in the office. So tight links and a grounds for recusal, but she didn't just recuse. She also directed 2 officers under her authority, this is before the recusal, she directed them not to arrest out of pickle. Now, she was later indicted on criminal misconduct. That is a serious and rare charge to go from a prosecutor to losing your job to becoming a defendant. Authorities saying she not only exercised poor judgment, but while she's legally presumed innocent until trial, the authorities say her mistakes were criminal in nature. Then a DA took over and recused himself due to a conflict of...
Tell me something. Do you honestly think that Allah let out the earth and did not retain his authority over the earth? Why do you think? Let me show you that. This here tells you that Allah never relinquished his authority over the earth. And just turn to Job, the first chapter. It said, now this is the 6th verse. Now, I'm going to start at the 1st verse, so we got time. Let's see here. There was a man in the land of, not Oz, but the land of Uz, whose name was Job. Job should have been spelled Jobe, because that's job there. But anyway, it says, and that man was perfect and upright. And that man was a Muslim. They wasn't going to put Muslim in there. If you say Muslim, then that's the jig is up. I didn't hear you. Huh? Let me show you. Turn to the Holy Quran, the 30th chapter and the 30th verse. It says, so set thy face for religion, being upright. The nature made by Allah, in which he has created or taught men. Men like Abraham, men like Moses, men like David, and like Solomon, and like Muhammad. So Job was a man like them. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil, forbiddeth evil. And there was born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. It's funny, my daddy had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And it says, his substance also was 7,000 sheep, and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the East. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of that Job sent them and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Yeah. Just because your daddy righteous, that don't mean you righteous. Huh? No, it don't always happen like that. Now, present themselves before the Lord, came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Where you coming from? And Satan answered, from going to and fro in the earth and from walking up and down it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made an hedge about him and about his house? He hath on every side. Thou hast blessed the work of his hand, and his sustenance is increased. His substance is increased in the land. But put forth your hand now and touch it, touch all of that he hath, and he will curse you to your face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in your power, only upon himself put not forth your hand. Do that sound like God had relinquished control over anything? Huh? Or was he still in charge? See, white people ain't never really been in charge. They've been in charge by Allah's permission. Do you understand? I remember, did you see Spook who sat by the door? You remember at one point in there, the devil was talking to the brother who played the main role. He said, "You people must serve," and he said, "Yes, sir." And the other one looked at him and said, "You are." But see, he didn't understand what was really going on. But the devil knew what he was supposed to do. We had no choice but to serve him, because Allah said we was going to serve him. Do you understand? And he was going to afflict us for 400 years. Why? Because that's what it was going to take. When a woman is when she's pregnant and it comes time for the delivery, she goes into labor. The black nation went into labor 400 and approximately 66 years ago. And in 1950, they gave birth. But once the baby was born, you still had to have the wise men come from the east, and you notice they had 3 wise men from the east, right? Well, the Torah, the Gospel, and the Holy Quran, they all came from the east. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the one they was riding on, and brought them, and they delivered gold, wisdom, frank incense. He said, what you need is some frank teaching, and myrrh. And he brought some, what you call, humor. So that is what they brought me. And so this is, now I'm no longer a baby, but I'm a man. You understand? You see? And so all of that slavery and stuff that just like right now, if it was left up to most of y'all, you'd sit around here for 400 more years arguing with white people about voting and treating you right and the civil rights and all this kind of. I don't sit up here and argue with them about no civil rights. Hell, you going to get out the way, you going to let us go, or you going to suffer the consequences. You will help me and be blessed, or you will try to hinder me, and the curse will remain on you, and you will be destroyed. Now, you suit yourself. I ain't here to beg none of you. I don't need to beg. I'm the Lord. Yeah. And if that ain't so, why? What happened to all them people that used to come in here cussing at me? I told you I was gonna fix you. The only reason you was getting away with it before was because I hadn't spoken unto you. You didn't know enough. I hadn't shared enough with you. But now you ain't got no excuse. Offered you $50,000 if you could prove that I'm teaching a lie. That don't require cursing nobody out. That requires come in, bring the truth, collect the money, and shut my mouth forever. So just listen. Now, little did they know that Allah was going to make it all come out. And they got to tell it.
Interest, basically, that was exposed also by Arbery's mother. And that happened, but not before noting that the McMichael's, quote, intent was to stop and hold a criminal suspect, Arbery, until law enforcement arrived, which he then asserted was, again, this is just a sweeping judgment in advance of what you now know has been a convicted murder. Well, he falsely said at the time that it was, quote, perfectly legal. Mr. Arbery was not a criminal suspect. He was an unarmed jogger. So local authorities not only didn't charge the people who you now know today were convicted of murder, they not only didn't charge, but they started flipping it around and acting like the victim or decedent, person who was killed, was the criminal.
You see, and he's not going far enough in his explanation of that. If the FBI shows you a wanted, a wanted person, and you happen to see them, well, what that man was saying applied to that. He had a right to hold a criminal suspect until law enforcement arrived. But you ain't got no right to say you consider somebody a criminal, a suspect, when the law enforcement agencies have not put no warrant out or have not said that they consider him a criminal suspect. That man is got as much rights as you to be out on the street. If those who are in authority, who are law enforcement, don't have a warrant out, a wanted poster out for him or whatever. See, that's what happens when you're losing your mind. Huh? See, that's a person that's blinded by their hatred and their rage against a black man. Huh? So whatever he, well, you know, law says if you consider him a suspect, you can go, he misinterpreted the law, just like they misinterpreted Second Amendment. You know what they done did with the Second Amendment is. The Second Amendment say every citizen got a right to have a gun. That ain't what the Second Amendment said. See, now they're trying to, they done heard me speak on this. And now they don't know what to do. So they start now remaking, doubling down on it and claiming they don't need no permit or whatnot. Because you don't need a permit. If the Constitution gave you the right to arm yourself, to bear and to keep arms and bear arms. It says the right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. Infringement means just that. You don't put no limits and no requirements and all that stuff on it. You understand? But that's not what the Second Amendment said. It said a well-regulated militia. And if it's well-regulated, it's under the control of the government. Didn't hear you. Not just a group of fanatics out there making a gang out of themselves and calling themselves a militia. A militia is under the authority, direct authority of the government. That's why when you was in the Marine Corps, when I was in the Marine Corps, if you was in the Army, the Navy, or any branch of service, or a police officer, that officer don't need no permit to carry a gun. If he's on the force, that's his permit. He's part of the militia. Do you understand? But everybody else, you got to have a license issued to you by those who, if you go crazy out there, they got to come and do something about you. Do you understand? So it's in the government's best interest to not have a whole bunch of armed people walking around, because their lives are in danger when they do that. That's why you establish a police force and you establish an army and a navy and an air force, so that civilians, people who are not part of those groups of militia, they don't have to walk around with a gun fearful, because you got people out there that's patrolling and they have guns and they can protect and serve the people. It's like people say, well, I need my gun to protect me. Well, what you need the police for then? On the side of their car, it said to serve and to protect. Take the protect off of the side there. If you need a gun to protect yourself, then what you need the police for? You ought to dismantle the police force. If you don't trust them to protect you, what you paying them for? How many of y'all got security on your house that security alarms and stuff on your house? You don't trust them things, but you keep paying for the protection of it. That's stupid. You see how your thinking is warped? And the only one that you go and present them arguments of yours to is somebody who's stupider than you. I should say dumber than you. I don't know if stupider is a word, so I'm not going to. I said, that man don't even know how to speak English. You'd be surprised the English I know. You don't speak English. Are you aware that, ain't and taint didn't used to be considered words? They are now. But anyway, let's see here. Let's go back to this. Now, you see how all of this, the crookedness that they've been doing, is coming out. Let me show you why it's coming out. Now, I was told that the jury was mostly white people. Huh? This is for all y'all who all the time you get mad at me because I said that, I'm not going to be lumping all white people together as though all of them is the same. No. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad took that away in his last sermon. I like to let people hear these things because, it's funny how You know, I'm pretty sure it's people that heard President Roosevelt when he said that December 7th, 1940, what was that, 42? I don't know what exactly when it was. 1941 is a date that will live in infamy. You remember he said that? And everybody got that etched in their mind. And he said to them also, he said, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Huh? You know why he said that? The same reason that it was put in the movie Doom. He said, when they sent that hunter killer in there to kill Paul, no, not that one. The box, when he put his hand in the box. And the Bene Gesserit, the witch, told him, he said, I hold at your neck, Jagam Jabar or something. And this one kills only animals. He said, are you calling the Duke's son an animal? He said, no, I'm suggesting that you may be human. See, they know human beings are not animals. Huh? See, I told you. See, if you listen long enough, you hear, it's just like when I used to listen to I think it was the Schlitz beer. Do they still make Schlitz beer? How would you know? You don't know. But you ain't supposed to know. But anyway, I haven't heard no Schlitz beer commercials for a long time. But Schlitz used to have a commercial that come out and says, you don't go around but once, so you got to grab all the gusto that you can. Now he tell the truth in the commercial. You know you don't live but once. But then he get up in church on Sunday and talk about you gonna come back. Tell me something. On what do you have faith? How can you have faith that you gonna come back after you dead? When you ain't never met nobody who came back after they died. All y'all that have met somebody who back here after death, introduce me to them. Just one person. Just one person. If you just introduce me to one, man, that would tell me I'm wrong. And I will come back. And then I'll get over there in your church and be one of your best parishioners. Now you're gonna tell me you got faith that you coming back. You lying. That's why you be crying at people's funeral. If you thought you was gonna see, you don't see nobody shedding tears if somebody gone, and if you really believe what you were saying, that they gone home to Jesus, they gone home to heaven, and well, what you crying for? You ought to be rejoicing. And how come you ain't in no hurry to go? Because all of you just full of it. Just lying. I never did believe that stuff. But I didn't argue with it because I didn't have no knowledge of nothing else. But you can't come in here with no foolishness like that now. As the messenger said, one or two words to stop that kind of talk. It said, Jesus came back. Tell him, show him to you. He said, just tell him, show him to you. And you know, you can really shut their mouth when you ask them again. You say Jesus came back from the dead? Yeah, he came back. Well, where did he go? Where he at now? Well, he's sitting on the right hand of the Father. Where is that? Then he go to looking up. Well, you know, if he was in China and he looked up, he'd be looking in a totally different direction from where you looking. So, I mean, what are you talking about? The children of the kingdom shall be cast into outer darkness. We call it outer space. Well, that's where the devil put your mind. He put your mind out in space. Somebody, Elizabeth, I'm coming. He looking up there, looking up. Last time he saw Elizabeth, he wasn't looking up. He was looking at her, put her in the ground. Huh? Y'all just full of it. You sit up there talking about you going to heaven, going to die and go to heaven, going to have milk and honey and all that kind of thing. Ain't no bees go to heaven. I thought cows don't go to heaven. Well, where you going to get milk from? I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave that alone. And I'm going to go back to what I said I was going to let you hear. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said some things that will really open your eyes. And this should really help you, what I'm about to show you now. Let me see here. Just give me a minute.
Coming up wrong. But to get in such position. Praise it be God. Yes, sir.
I think I'm going to let you hear the part where the messenger recognized that I was awake and that his job was finished. And so he was properly relieved. I'm his relief, you see. And that's why he told everybody, he said, we want you to know that you are at the setting of the sun. See, he was about to go away. And he said, but that sun, the spiritual sun, he said that sun is rising again, bringing us in a new day. You notice when you got 6 days, when the 7th day arrives, then that's a new day. Is that right? The 7th day is the day when the Son of Man comes. That's me. This is the day which the Lord hath made. I need. Okay. Now, how many of y'all around here don't believe I'm the Lord? I know I have the balls standing up here teaching and laughing, and sometimes you don't get what I'm laughing about, but you don't have what I got in my head. You see, in order, humor is like beauty. It's in the mind of the one that's doing the laughing or the one who's doing the looking. Do you understand? You see. So I want you to hear the messenger.
In the person of Master Farad Muhammad, he was there. Your brother kingdom. Kingdom from whom he pleases, and give it to whom he pleases. Yes, sir.
Look at what he's quoting scriptures there. That one of the reasons why it's written like that in the scripture was that the one who was doing the speaking, his name was Shabazz. And the name Shabazz means greater taker. As in, he taketh the kingdom from whom he please and gives it to whom he pleases. Huh? He's the greater taker. And he said he was going to do this 50,000 years ago. Notice, 50,000 years ago. The Holy Quran talks about this 50,000 years. When Mr. Shabazz told the 11 scientists, he said, I can make a people that would be so strong that nothing could defeat them. He said, and from that people, using them, I could make one come out of us that would be so wise that he would bring it in to us, our council of 24 elders or 12 scientists, 12 major and 12 minor. He said, and we would have only one God and one grantor of dominion instead of a council of them. And he said, they told him, they said, well, you go make your man, but don't make him here. So Mr. Shabazz, he took his family, his tribe, into what is now, you call it Africa. And he began making his people. You notice, you look at some of the old tribes of Africa, some of them stretch their lips out real far and put bones through their nose and shape their head real long and whatnot. It's showing you what they can do with the human body. It's like clay to us. Do you understand? And you got some people that's 7 feet tall and ain't nobody under 7 feet. And then you got some people that's ain't nobody over 4 feet tall. There's some genetic experimenting been going on over there. Huh? Okay. And so after approximately 43,000 years of, I mean, look, man, you got to be pretty tough. Now, you just think for a minute. You got to be some pretty tough people to walk around in a jungle with lions, tigers, hyenas. And the devil done taught you that hyena is a fierce something. He hunts in packs. Huh? And all we had was our wits and a stick. Huh? And was living out there with them like we was living in a park. Huh? So even you go in some of them's little hut and you see a rug on the floor with a lion's head. Huh? Teach that lion, don't mess with us. Is that right? Okay. So then, approximately 43,000 years, one who was prophesied to come, his name was Jacob, Yaqub. He was prophesied to come, and he would complete what Mr. Shabazz started. That's where white people came in. See, he made a people terrible from their beginning. A people that would be scattered all over the earth, and they call them peeled, scattered and peeled. Because the only time you saw white skin among black people was when they scraped themselves, and then you see their little white up under there. You ever scraped yourself? You saw the white up under there? Okay, well, so when they saw, foresaw the coming of white people, he was called a people scattered and peeled. And like if you peel that layer off of us, and then you see that white up under there. But anyway, the Yaqub taught them deceit, trickery, and warfare. And that's why when he said, I will place a ruler in there, remember Mr. Shabazz said? He said, I could make a people that would be so strong, nothing could defeat them. So Yaqub came to do that. He said, I'm going to place a ruler in there. I'm going to place a mind in an earthen vessel. And the angels asked me, said, what are you going to make? Something that will make mischief and shed blood. He said, that's all right. Surely I know something that you don't know. And so he made them. And then told them, see, Yaqub knew more than he was telling. He couldn't tell them everything that needed to happen, but he knew what was going to happen. When they went back among us, making trouble and whatnot, his work would be finished by the original people exiling them from among us. And they go into the caves and walk across the burning sand as they go through their little ritual there in Masonics. And they marched them into the hills and cave sides of Europe. And there they went savage. That was to remove all of what was left of civilized behavior from them. Then after 2,000 years, we sent Musa in there to bring them out. Moses taught them some of the trick knowledge that Yaqub gave them. And then he taught them what they needed to know to come out and rule. And he just about stripped them of any humanity. And so they come out thinking, I mean, they even thought at the end of their time they was going to be murdered. So that even made them mad. And so they came out ready to they were fit to be tied, man. And so he started raising hell everywhere. Where his maker told him, he said, you go out and subdue the earth. He said he went forth conquering and to conquer. That's what he went forth for. Nothing could defeat him. Huh? And that's what Mr. Shabazz said he could do. And he did it. And white folks, y'all can jump in if you want to. I'll let you talk if you think I don't know what I'm talking about. Come on in. So, now you know I couldn't possibly know this if something else wasn't going on up here in my head. So anyway, as Mr. Yaqub, he knew that they would be devils, and he knew that they would do what needed to be done. As is, you remember, the God, Yaqub, he said to Abram, he said, know of a surety that your seed is going to be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. And they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Well, that's where the labor came in, slave labor. You remember the book says, only him who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Let me read something to you here. I got an old slave auction sheet here. It says, to be sold and let by public auction on Monday, the 18th of May, 1829, under the trees, for sale, the 3 following slaves. Hannibal, about 30 years old, an excellent house servant of good character. William, about 35 years old, a laborer. And Nancy, an excellent house servant and nurse. The men belonging to Leach's estates, and the woman to Miss D. Smith, to be let on the usual conditions of the hirer, finding them in food, clothing, and medical maintenance. The following male and female slaves: Robert Bagley, about 20 years old, a good house servant. William Bagley, about 18 years old, a laborer. John Arms, about 18 years old. Jack Antonia, about 40 years old, a laborer. Philip, an excellent fisherman. Harry, about 27 years old, a good house servant. Lucy, a young woman of good character, used to housework and the nursery. Eliza, an excellent washerwoman. Clara, an excellent washerwoman. Fanny, about 14 years old, a house servant. Sarah, about 14 years old, a house servant. Also for sale, an 11 o'clock fine rice, gram, patty, books, muslins, needles, pens, ribbons, and CNC.NC. At 1 o'clock, that celebrated English horse, Blucher, Addison Printer, government office. Okay, this was the slave auction. They use the term they let it, only he who now letteth will let. But anyway, they made merchandise out of us. And we were so afraid of them that everything that we felt, we had to internalize like a pressure cooker. You wouldn't dare get out there and scream, "Let me go, you doing me wrong." And then you would not, you'd be dead. Huh? So they had to internalize it. And by internalizing it, the genes of us began working on the delivery. So our genes produced Elijah, and our genes produced the Son of Man. Do you understand? And now, salvation is available to everybody. But the messenger, he knew. At first, he thought he was that one. And as he said, Jesus thought he was that one, and then he realized that that one was yet to come. And why you think he said, I don't come out very often to teach? He said, because I'm forbidden to do so until the proper hour. Nobody never asked him what he meant by that. But he knew that I was to come after him. And that's why he told everybody. He said, ain't nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. And so anyway, listen at him when he was so happy that he felt my presence, and he knew that I was awake.
So we had no king, but he's now giving for us a kingdom. Yes, sir. This represents his kingdom. Yes, sir.
Even that, as he said, he's now giving to us a kingdom. When you are given knowledge and understanding that no one else has, you are being given a kingdom. You are being given rulership. You notice, I rule with what I'm speaking. I rule with what I'm teaching. Nobody can come in and argue with me. Why? Because I'm the only one who knows this. See? How am I able to get away with that? Well, I know I'm getting away with it because I'm the only one who knows. As the messenger said, this represents the kingdom. What he was teaching, you didn't understand it. But he knew I would grow to agree with him and understand it. You can't agree with what you can't understand. He said, I know you will not agree with me. He said, but you will grow to agree with me. See, he knew I wasn't no hypocrite. I didn't understand everything the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, and I knew I didn't understand it, but I believed that he was telling me the truth. And I believed that he was the messenger of Allah. And therefore, I didn't have to understand everything in order to believe in him. You think prophets understood everything that they were saying? Remember, Daniel said, the words of my head troubled me. You remember that? You know, I mean, he didn't understand everything he was saying, but as Allah told Prophet Muhammad, he said, if we make you understand part of what we promised him, or cause you to misunderstand, cause you to die. And yours is but the delivery of the message. Your duty is to deliver the message, not to explain it, not to understand it. He said, upon us rests the collecting of it and the explaining of it. Huh? All right.
Sit him down over there. Hungry. Put him on good shoes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get up, brother. And recognize your brother that was wrong. And is now found. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get up. Give him a place at home. Come on in, brother. Praise be God. He was wrong. Now he's found. Yes, he was dead. But now he's alive. Yes. Come on in, brother. Yes, sir. Have a seat, brother. Yes, sir.
See? He was talking about me. I didn't even know he was talking about me. Do you understand? But it's just like you watch parents when they're little baby get there. The parents are aware of what the baby means and what the baby is, you know, what they've been expecting and whatnot. But the baby ain't aware of nothing. The baby just know it's there. Huh? So I just knew I was in the nation and there, but I didn't know that I was the one. Even when people tried to tell me, I told them, say, you're going to make no hypocrite out of me. I'm following the messenger. I didn't realize the messenger was finna go. And so, but Allah was making people talk to me and tell me who I am. You know, from time to time, people would say things to me, and I would deny it. But when he wasn't here no more, then I realized that Allah had been telling me that that's who I am. The messenger was talking about me when he said, "You sit him down over there, crown him, put him on good shoes." He said he was dead, now he's alive. He was lost, now he's found. Yeah, and that was me. I am he that liveth and was dead.
Put him on. Wow. This is coming of God in the person of Masterful Lord Muhammad and teaching to you and me that he had such good as is written. Yes, sir. Now he has found us. Now what must be done? We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go for work. Yes, sir. Praise it be God. Yes, sir.
I want to say to you, our people, stop thinking that everybody sees what you see. You know, you'll be surprised. Certain things you see that others don't. And when they don't see, that don't change what you saw and what Allah showed you. Do you understand? You know, Allah shows who he pleases, what he wants them to see. Do you understand? Okay.
To think the Chicago white people for making it possible.
Now, he didn't say we want to thank the Chicago Devils. He said we want to thank the Chicago white people for making it possible for us to obtain the country club.
For us to obtain the country club. For making it possible for us to get in such position where we can prove ourselves worthy of that position. Yes, sir. We thank them. They have did us a great favor. Yes, sir. I don't think that we have nothing to do but to honor and thank them for putting us in such positions. Yes, sir. This is their house. And we're here teaching the truth. Yes, sir. They're not objecting to you teaching the truth. as we have white Muslims in America. And lots of them.
In the lesson, the messenger gave us, he said, are there any Muslims other than righteous? He said, I beg your pardon. I've never heard of one. So if he said we have white Muslims in America, who am I supposed to believe, him or you? He called them Muslims. Then there ain't no Muslims other than righteous. And so there's white Muslims in America, and lots of them. That's what he said. And they recognize and respect you. They recognize and respect us. Then we must recognize and respect them. You understand? The white man, when he was made by black man, he was made devil. Of course, that curse was only to remain on him until the day of judgment. They used to write the messenger asking him, could they join with him? You heard a white woman call up on here and ask me, well, wasn't the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the messenger of Allah to us all? And I told her, yes, ma'am, he certainly was. I knew what she was getting at. You know, what you gonna tell me? I heard him. I was listening to him. Do you understand? And so I'm not surprised at what happened in Georgia with the all-white jury almost and whatnot. It's white people that's sick of this mess that they've been seeing with their, just like I'm sick of Negroes. All you want to do is just walk around here and act a fool. The white man made Negroes out of us. We didn't have to stay a Negro. We made devils out of them. They didn't have to stay the devil. And a lot of them chose not to stay that way. You hear me? So, everybody got a choice to make now. Everybody has a choice to make now. And you're in a day of learning. If you do not learn, I'm going to go on with the class and leave you right where you at. Like that song says, let them believe or leave them behind. Huh?
We have them all over the world. Yes, sir. And we're here teaching the truth. Yes, sir. They're not objecting to you teaching the truth. As we have white Muslims in America. And lots of them. We have them all over the world. Yes, sir. And they recognize and respect. Go ahead, you must recognize and respect it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead. You don't disrespect people that is trying to respect you. Yes, sir. I remember the last time that I was up to the airport. They let me and my followers get on first. Now remember that flag is still flying over America. Yes, sir. Honor and respect the man. Yes, sir. Because he still have his flag.
It's just like what you saw me do. I know people trying to figure out why would I buy a flagpole and put the American flag on it or whatnot. That's out of respect. That's why. The messenger said we should respect them. You look like raising a flag up in this man's country and want him to respect the flag you raise while you don't respect his. That show you borderline and a fool. As you would that men do to you. What?
Do ye also unto them.
We hoist our flag. I remember when I first raised that flag. I didn't even put but one pole in my yard when I was out west. And the police from 77th Street precinct, I was out there cutting my grass, and our flag was flying on that pole. And they pulled over to the curb and asked me, what kind of flag is that? I said, it's a religious flag. He said, what religion? I said, Islam. And he looked at it. There was two of them in the car. And they nodded at me and they drove off. He didn't say take it down. I thought it was something that was bearing witness to what Allah had given me for him to even have to ask what kind of flag is that. He'd never seen a flag like that before. Ain't none of y'all never seen a flag like that before. It's new. And yet, it looks like it's been here all the time. Because it has been here all the time. Every time you look up, you see my flag. If you look up and see black, you see my flag. That's in my flag. If you see the sun up there, you see my flag. If you look up and see the moon, whether it's in its first or last quarter or full moon, you're looking at part of my flag. If you look at the stars and see up there to look at the stars, you see my flag up there. My flag is over every flag. Just as I am over everybody. Yeah. If I wasn't over everybody, it'd be somebody in here able to argue with me. And I ain't proud. You know, I ain't saying that because I'm trying to bully you or whatever. I don't like bullying people. You know, I like just treat people like I want to be treated. You know, that, you know, you make people hate you walking around bullying people. You know, Matter of fact, I'm scared to do that. I remember the messenger said, you go around forcing your way on people and aggressing on people, maybe Allah will let you be a loser to teach you a lesson. You know, Muslims are not troublemakers and trouble risers. We don't go around raising hell. We go around peace follow us. Goodness and mercy follow us. You know. I was so happy and proud that there's some white people, and I look like it's more than just some. There's a whole lot of them that now are coming out and standing their ground against the wrongdoers among them. Every nation of people, every nationality, every race, every color of people, if you are for right, stand against wrong in your own household first. Don't go along with the wrongdoing of people who look like you. And when they try to get mad at you because you look like them and they want you to go along with them, you tell them, I don't go along with nobody in the wrong. You've been around me all this time. You don't know me by now? Hell, it's an insult for you to even try to do that in front of me and think I ain't gonna say nothing. That tells me what you think about me. Anytime a person do something that's blatantly wrong and they do it right in front of you, it's because they don't have no respect for you. Well, the way you make them have respect is you call them on the carpet for the wrong that they did. And understand this. As that young man had his hand in the box, and his life depending on him keeping it in there and not pulling it out. Because if he pulled it out, his instincts, if he was going to follow his instincts, that's what animals do. Not human beings. Human beings follow knowledge and understanding. And so he said, I must not fear. While his hand was burning and everything, he said, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. What did President Roosevelt say? The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Huh? Because once you heard the term paralyzed with fear? Huh? You remember Parallax on a Green Lantern? What did he feed off of? He fed off of fear. Paralyzed with fear, their mind froze up on. And they said paralyzed with fear. When you're paralyzed, you can't move, right? So you can't, fear is not going to solve any problems for you. You think your way out of trouble. You can't fear your way out of trouble. You got to think your way out of trouble. And recognize that whoever is putting fear in you ain't nothing but another human being like you. And if right is on your side, then God is on your side. Then trust God. God is the truth. Fear God, and you will be surprised how quickly the fear for that flesh that's trying to growl and go on at you. Fear Allah. Love Allah. Fear to displease Allah. And you will discover you don't have to be afraid of nobody else. Let them be afraid. Allah will always, when people shut a door, think they done got you in you remember looking at the Matrix when Neo was running? He said, Mr. Wizard, I need a door. He made a door for him, didn't he? But likewise, when one door shuts, Allah will open up another door for you. You ain't got to worry about these people thinking they're going to hurt you. No, they will fall into their own trap. You hear me? Okay. Oh. So I was looking at this. I want the rulers. This is basically something that is put here for those who have been ruling. White people. This is something that was said for your sake. This is the 5th chapter of Matthew. I'm going to start at the first verse. It says, and seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he was set, his disciples came unto him. And he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Let me show you something here. You remember the devil said, my Lord, as you have judged me erring, you made me rich in natural knowledge, and you left me poor in spiritual knowledge. But yet you gave the world, you gave me dominion over everything. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. It has been yours. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. You remember the Jen said, some of us are good and some of us are below that? Huh? So, I was thinking about John Brown. You know what I heard about him. I don't know nothing about what white folks told me. John Brown, he was in the South fighting against slavery, fighting against white people who was enslaving black people. He and those who joined with him. And he was eventually caught and killed for trying to put an end to the slavery of black people. Well, he was ahead of time. But to show you that there was some of them who was against what others of them were doing. And while they openly claim white supremacy and how they love white people, but they were hypocrites, they were liars. You see, when you hate any flesh, you are a liar when you say you love some flesh. Because whenever you hate a certain flesh, when flesh that look like yours shows sympathy or love for that which you hate that flesh too. Did you hear me? They called many white people nigger lovers. And they killed them as quick as they killed us. Do you understand? So they don't believe in no white supremacy. They believe in wicked supremacy. But they can't say that. Because if they say that, they'd lose some of the people that they've been lying to. Anyway, so it says, blessed are they that mourn. Mourn for who? When people truly, you got some people who go to church, white people, who truly mourn the death of Jesus, who truly mourn for Moses. They sit up in there and they try their best to live their life according to what the prophets taught. And that's white people in Islam the same way. All of these religions that you got out here, there are some people who truly try to practice what the prophet that they were familiarized with. They try to practice what they were told that prophet taught. They mourn for those prophets. But they shall be comforted. I'm comforting them now. It's just like those who were poor in spirit. I'm giving them the kingdom now. Do you understand? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Jesus said, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. He said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly of heart. Meaning I'm meek and humble. And I'll give you rest. Give you the word of God and the truth that you've been searching for to bring you peace. I'll give you that. Well, all of the messengers of God were meek, and they are now about to inherit all of the bodies on earth. I'm putting the mind of all of them in you, and they are inheriting the bodies of the human family as they were promised. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And it says, blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. This is what you just saw in Georgia. You saw some white people do something that you didn't expect. Not only did they convict the murderers of Mr. Aubrey, but they also filed charges against the district attorneys and the people who tried to cover all of that stuff up. Huh? It's a new day. And as far as people calling you, threatening you, tell them to go to hell. And because I told you to tell them that, Allah will let that happen to them. They have no business threatening you. Don't be afraid of none of them. Ain't nothing but a bunch of cowards. They get real tough when they outnumber you and got a gang of people to come after one person. There ain't nothing to them. Ain't nothing but they're like a bunch of dogs. Look at the Nature Channel sometime. A bunch of hyenas will get after a lion, about 20 hyenas. They'll try to take on a lion.
Isaiah chapter 32, verse 17.
Isaiah chapter 32. And verse 17. It says, and the work of righteousness shall be peace. If you were Abraham's children, you would do the works of Abraham. Well, if you were God's children, you would do the works of God. The works of God is righteousness. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. There you go. See, definitions is right there in the scriptures. You don't have to wonder who's who. Where do you find people who, out here cussing and killing folks and all that, talking about they God's children? You ain't no God's children. You're the children of the devil. A bunch of murderers. He was a murderer from the beginning and a liar. Sit up there and try to overthrow the government in front of the whole world. They out there try to overthrow the government, and now sitting up in the House of Representatives and in the Senate talking about that was just tourists. They would just, you know why they call them tourists? A tourist is someone who is in general generally thought about as someone who's visiting your country that ain't a citizen. Them people, in a sense, were tourists. Those are Confederacy. Those are the people of the Confederacy that never really considered themselves as United States citizens. They've been Confederate citizens all of this time undercover, slipping around in your government, trying to undermine it and overthrow it. See, understand the language that they use. See, they think they're talking over your head. Oh, sorry devils. Look at them. I told you they a bunch of cowards. How come don't none of them come in here and say something to me? The phone line is open. Anybody got their hand up?
No, sir.
Been secretly at war against the United States, and you didn't even know they was at war with you. That's what cowards do. Pretend to be your friend. You remember Judas? Judas pretended that he loved Jesus, didn't he? But he loved money more than he loved Jesus, didn't he? Then after he got what he loved, then it didn't bring him the joy that he thought he was going to get. Allah didn't even let him enjoy it. He went out and hung his crazy self. I didn't hear you. So, as I was telling you earlier, that Mr. Shabazz 50,000 years ago talked about my birth. He talked about white people, a people that nothing could defeat. When it comes to warfare and bloodshed, you ain't got no people that's more powerful than white folks. Huh? Everybody that's got weapons bought them from him. I didn't hear you. Okay. Now, look what is written in the 70th chapter of the Holy Quran. It says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, a questioner asked about the chastisement to befall the disbelievers. Remember, Iblis was one of the disbelievers. Huh? The jinn, he was one of the disbelievers. He was one of the jinn, and he was one of the disbelievers. He was the God of the disbelievers. One of the disbelievers, it was simply saying, you remember say he, Allah is what? One. Well, the devil was one or God of the disbelievers. Do you understand? Okay. And it says, a questioner asks about the chastisement to befall the disbelievers. There is none to avert it from Allah, the Lord of the ways of ascent. Well, if Jesus was the way, and Jesus was one prophet, one messenger, well, and he, as he said, I am the way, and no man ascendeth unto the Father but by me. Huh? No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Oh, okay. If Jesus was a way of ascent, what was Moses? Moses was a way of ascent. Isaiah, David, Solomon, all of them were ways to ascend. To ascend where? Into heaven. No man hath ascended up to heaven but he that came down from heaven. Ah? Okay. So the angels of God ascending and descending now, they are ascending and descending upon the Son of Man, upon the brain of the Son of Man. And so the book says, the Lord of the ways of ascent, the Lord of the prophets. That's who I am. And then it says, to him ascend the angels and the Spirit. To him ascend the messengers and the word and the truth in a day, the measure of which is 50,000 years. Huh? so 50,000 years ago, Mr. Shabazz prophesied that he could produce one. And now that one is standing here. It is done, as the book says. It is done. I am Alpha and Omega. See? And so the 24 elders, they threw their crowns down and said, "Worthy is the Lamb." Well, that's me. You see? Do you understand? Yeah. So now, let's see. I'm going to give you this next 15 minutes here to question me on anything I said that you don't understand or whatnot, which you could have stopped me anytime. I don't forbid you to stop me in the middle of something that I say that you don't understand. You can get clarity. Even if you think you have an argument, I'll listen. I'm not a teacher who's afraid of people who disagree. So as you can see, everything is written. There's nothing been left to chance. Everything was written, and now it's being done. You see?
There's much that can be entertained between them and us. And that way of respect. Yes, sir. We don't have to get up to try to make fun of them just because you have ruined yourself. And now you have ruined them. Yes, sir. That's right, Apostle. Just remember, yes, sir, that they show you respect after you have ruined yourself. Yes, sir, Apostle. Show them respect too. Yes, sir. Because when you didn't know yourself, you didn't respect yourself, nor anyone else. That's right. We used to disgrace ourselves and them too. That's right. Because we didn't know ourselves. Yes, sir. But now we respect ourselves and we respect them. Yes, sir. Praise be to God. Yes, sir.
Always remember, respect for others starts first with respect for yourself. A person that has self-respect feels too dignified to go around disrespecting others because he knows that it will make others look at him or her in a disrespectful light. You cannot stop people from thinking evil of you because you can't be their keeper. The mind that's in them is their keeper. The mind that's in you is your keeper. So you cannot stop people from thinking evil of you, but you can certainly stop it from being justified. It's just like you can't stop people from filing charges against you. But you can prove. If it's not true, you can have your data face them in court and prove that their charges are unfounded. Do you understand? Filing a charge is easy. Proving it is a whole different ball of wax. So I want you to know this, that you are no longer in a day and time where evil is to prosper. The scripture says, whosoever doeth any evil work in the Lord's day, their mind is going to be taken from them. That's why you see so many people going crazy now. They didn't take Allah's word seriously. And now they are suffering the consequences. They are being put to death. The man that wanders out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. See, so that's what's happening now. And it's not just happening in America. It's not just happening in the United States. It's happening all over the world. Governments now are falling apart. Anytime you have, just think. Search history, and you will see. There was never a time when government relinquished its authority when the nation was in danger. The government took charge. And the president of the United States, he took an oath to uphold the Constitution and to defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. If you look at the authority of the president of the United States, it trumps the authority of states. When it comes to, if the president declares a national emergency, ain't no governor can contradict that. If the president says there's a national emergency, I'm declaring that this is what every state will do. They either fall in line or go to jail. Huh? I say to President Biden, go ahead, exercise your authority, brother. What? You trying to avoid bloodshed, you say. Okay. Well, what is the point of trying to avoid something that you see people are just itching for anyway and want to, not only do they want to destroy the United States, they want to take you down with them. Here, these people don't respect scientific truth. That's not up to them to respect it. It's up to you to enforce it and make them respect it. You have authority over the armed forces. You can come into the states and enforce something that will put an end to this pandemic, and you ought to do it. So, they have a right to, and if it was something that wasn't going to affect other people, they have a right to refuse vaccinations or whatnot. But you see this virus is steady mutating, and it's mutating because of the unvaccinated. You have a means of putting an end to the pandemic, but you got these people that say they want the freedom to keep it going if they want to. No, you don't have that freedom. And you know why they don't come in here and argue or attempt to argue with me? Is because their argument has no basis in facts. This is not something about making war against a person's political beliefs. This is about a war against a virus that is threatening to destroy us all. You have to take charge. And I say that for your sake. I read to you what Allah promised me. He knew you was going to act like this. He knew you was going to have people acting like this. Why you think he said 1,000 shall fall at my side and 10,000 at my right hand? He said, but it won't come near you. That's what he told me. I'm talking to you for your sake. Of course, it don't surprise me that you don't believe me, because people was around here with me for years and didn't believe me. Left. They ain't think about me. So what can I say? You know, if you are with me and truly with me, it's because Allah letting you be with me. You know, make no mistake. You know, this is, no man can come to me except my Father, the one that have sent me, draw him. The truth has to draw you to me. So, it's 11 o'clock. So that's 3 hours. And I'm going to put a pin in it there. And may Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. And that's all I can tell you is straighten up and obey Allah and save yourself. I am here to give you the truth and to establish, as it said, author and finish the faith. That's my job, is to establish the faith within your heart. Faith in the Word of God. So, I have faith in God's Word, and I'm telling you, be like me. It doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we shall be like him when he appears. Okay. So, to you who believe in Allah and all of his prophets, may Allah bless you, bless us, and keep us all safe and in our right minds, and grant us the victory over the evil within ourselves and outside of us, and grant to each of us a peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.